Our group is, Christy will be joining us as well. Tiffany will come when she has it in her schedule to come. But yeah, Christy just had back surgery 3 weeks ago. So she wanted to audit and just learn. She comes from a medical background and thinks Pilates is like the greatest thing since sliced bread and beyond. It's helped her so much leading up to this. So she wants to audit and learn more and possibly get a voice in the medical world about like how effective this work is. So, but she's really having some pain today, I think. So she's gonna make it. We'll record. What's up, Christy? Record for her. So yeah, so this is basically our crew. So Rebecca and Jen are the essential like students. And 3 of you are students that can trade out for that third reformer because we have it. And I just think it builds our baseline of what the studio kind of, how we're teaching and what's happening, which we already kind of have going on in our similarities. But so welcome. And you two met, Rebecca, Jen? Just now. Okay. So at any time, just jump in and ask questions. Today will be the first bit will be a bit of explaining, a bit of talking, and then kind of the rest of the semester will be moving with questions. But the difference between this offering and what you've been experiencing at Pilates Brevard so far is that this is the choreography. And you've earned the right to be here. Like, you can't be here unless you have some of these fundamentals in here. A lot of studios, a lot of teachers will teach choreography. I feel like all of life is choreography and you can move through it mindfully or not. So I just have found a connection through the Pilates method to teach awareness. It can be taught in anything, but the brilliance of Pilates and the closed chain reality of the equipment and you having the mat and the floor to give you feedback, there's just brilliance in that. So in and of itself, the method is awesome. And then I just add the layer of deep awareness teaching because I think it makes movement better and gets rid of pain. You two having those foundations, this will be choreography. You're going to be learning the movements. And the analogy that I love here is when you learn to ride a bike, you know, and Power Pilates might use this analogy when you train because it's where I learned it. But they're like, you don't put the kid on the bike and you're like, okay, lift your left knee. Now, press down with your right. Now, pull back and then sit up. You know, you just put them on the bike and they fall off a ton. And then they eventually don't. So it's kind of like that without the falling off. But we'll be throwing you in the deep end a little bit and saying, you know how to swim. Your form might not be perfect. It's not going to be. But you know how to swim and you're not going to get hurt. So that will be the difference of how this 12-week goes compared to what you'll experience in your mat class. Because you need to do that to have the foundation to do this, okay? And you have, if you open up, this is actually, I wrote down kind of what we're gonna chat about at the beginning. In front of your folders, you have a picture of like a little stick body. In a sense, you can pull that out because there's a back to it. And if you open, it's like right in the front there, okay? So if you turn and actually look at the body, turn around and look at the body side of it, Jen, to start. So on like this intro sheet, I said, we are going to learn choreography, but the foundations are always looming. Like, this is what we'll be working on in the warm-up, I'll talk about in a minute, your weekly mat practice, and eventually this is happening underneath all of the choreography. So just a loose review of what's going on here. That's every human body. This is actually how I see you guys. I don't even pay attention to your face or your clothes or anything. I see you like this when I'm training you. And the top points are your shoulder points, right? The bottom squares are your hip joints. Spine's through the center. And you've got some cool, there's so many triangles in the body, it's neat. Psoas is neat. That's the bottom guy. He's a muscular line, okay? The triangle at the top pulling down, that's like lower traps. Yep, I've labeled them for you loosely. I'm not an artist, but. Oh, you did, right? Yeah. You can draw it in there though if you want a second one. And this is actually not what we're going to talk about in this training so much. This is just what's happening. These connections, this alignment is happening in the mat work. This is happening in all your Pilates Brevard training. And in this work, we're going to challenge your capacity to hold on to that box and the length at the same time. So I wanted to share that with you so you have it. You can turn it on if you flip it over, you'll learn the biggest secret. All the cues are all leading to this one thing, right? Every cue, we're trying to get through to your brain, right? Your brain might receive lift out of the low back. You might actually need pull the sacrum forward. You might need reach the crown to the ceiling. All the same stuff, right? Root your tail feather, root your sits bones. Okay, that also makes you go vertical. Like so 1,000,001 ways. Aleshka and I working with cues, Sarah soon to be, you both in dance. We're trying to get this stuff in our students' bodies. So that's gonna be taken care of for you in your mat work. Choreography, I'm gonna teach you, and then eventually your body starts, with some assistance from your teacher, to pull in that foundational work within the choreography, okay? So any questions about that so far? That is a cool sheet to just keep. It's an ever-evolving thing. I've been adding to it over time, but I think a lot of it is there and covered. Okay. Yeah, foundations are always looming, and then all choreography will stem from here and filter into your everyday life, because I feel like, again, everyday life is choreography. You're just moving through it, and if you can do it with more grace without thinking about it, that's the goal. Okay, so on to the next, how this will work. I first invite you, not yet, don't shut your brain off yet, but when I'm coaching you, you are just going to do your best not to think about everything I've made you think about for years, okay? You don't worry about it. It's already in your body a little bit. You're gonna be fine. We'll always start these sessions with a 5 to 10 minute warm up. And the why behind this, the reformer was never designed to be where you start. Because you start right in footwork, right? Footwork, that's legs. Any student coming in doing footwork, it's gonna be like legs. You know, you have to do something to connect to the average everyday human, which is all of us, into their core. So we'll do a warm up and then we can get right into the choreography. You won't have to think during the warm up, I'll take care of it. And the reason is we need a stable, warm spine so you don't injure yourself, okay? Where we're starting, there's really slim chance that you'll get injured. It's more like second half of the semester. Some of that stuff is crazy and it'll be fun. It is fun. But you'll need the first 6 weeks, that foundation, to be able to do it. All right, and you'll have this sheet to go back and understand why we don't start on the reformer. To start with the legs, what we call the periphery, makes it difficult to first connect to the core, like I said. Okay, and we'll always finish with 5 to 10 minutes of flow to music. Now this is like, what is that when you go against the church? Like heretical. Yes, that's the word. What is it again?
Heretical.
Heretical. I know, it's like, it's not theoretical. It's not the, yes. We are just so going against everything I've ever learned. I don't teach with music. I feel like I love music, right? I love making playlists and all that, but music has an emotional connotation to it. I remember being in a yoga class once and I was all centered and the teacher played a song and it reminded me of an ex-boyfriend. So I just got pulled there, you know, and I'm like, do I really want to? Yeah. At the same time, music has a beat. Music gets you in your body, and at the end, we'll just, whatever we've learned that day, we're just gonna put you on the reformer and you're gonna move to a beat. Whatever beat you hear, you're gonna move to it and just keep a rhythm, and we'll close off every session like that way. And again, you three can take turns using the reformer to play around each week. You can all join in on the warm-up, which will be nice. But yeah, and then you get to experience breath and flow. Like again, the flow is our goal. This is where we hang out. You've earned your right to get to number 6 principle, okay? Flow. So we play the music, you'll wrap up that way. It'll be a lot of fun. It's also a guinea pig experiment, so we'll see how it all goes. Okay, I've not taught some music in a long time. So how your semester is organized, first 6 weeks. So again, we're following the 6-week series format of the studio. So we'll do 6 weeks, a week off, another 6 weeks. First 6 weeks, all beginner intermediate exercises, okay? And I noted all that is needed to test out if you choose to. And I'll get to the test out in a minute. The second 6 weeks, that's when the advanced work, including the jump board. We'll bring in all of that. Yeah, there's really not much more to that. Test out. So I mentioned this at the beginning. My like, if we're in this community long enough together, I got 20 years till I retire, something will happen, but is that we sort of have a Pilates gym set up where there's enough in our community that have this in their body, and you can come in, because you want Pilates in your body, come in a couple times a week, get on the reformer if it's free, you know, you pay like a gym membership, and you leave. You still do your classes to stay connected, but you are so well versed in the equipment that we can do it like Joe did. You know, Joe trained his students 5 times and gave them their workout, and they came to the studio and they did their thing, and he was there. Pull your abs in, and then, you know, standing on someone else's shoulders or whatever the crazy heck stuff he did. But there is this ownership of it, and it takes a long time to build that. So you two are sort of like the first to enter that realm. For the sake of how the studio works, you will need 2 apparatus under your belt. So another semester in the winter and spring, we'll do tower. Spring and summer, we'll do chairs and spine correctors. And that's surely if Aleshka's in here teaching a trio, I'm teaching a trio, we're hogging all the reformers, and you're like, I don't know how to use anything else yet. You know, you have the 2 under your belt. So that's it. This is a longer dream vision for the sake of our community, having that capacity. So when it comes to practice, you emailed me about this, and Thursdays, 1:45 to 2:45 will be the official practice hour. I'll be in the studio. I might have a private or something, but you will essentially have access to the reformers. The other thing I'm willing and open to, if you two wanted to come in together outside those hours and figure out a time, I'd be happy to give you a card if the building's locked, but you need somebody here with you. You can't come in by yourself yet, so you two.
Because I have to leave to pick up kids every Thursday at 2:15. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So that time just, I'm flexible. That doesn't work for me.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
There's another, I'm totally flexible.
Yeah, so you could come in for that half hour. The thing is, you might just get this in your veins. You're like, God, I want to really be in the studio right now. If you two connect, you can come in more than, you can do more than 1 hour a week of practice is what I'm saying. You all can come in and play and practice, But yeah, I will be here on Thursdays to answer any questions you have, that sort of thing. And then you can figure out an additional hour or 2 a week if you want that. Just let me know. I'll need to give you a card if the building's locked on the weekends, Any questions about any of that so far?
So, test out, are we actually testing out, or you're going to observe us and say, okay, yeah, they're good to go?
So we will do a little test out. So if you get like test anxiety, don't worry. It's nothing like that. It's just, yeah.
I'm a teacher. I was a teacher.
It was, and it might be the case where I'll be like, I've watched you guys, and you're like, you're fine. This is sort of my first time doing it in this format. So a test out is just sort of like, I remember my Power Pilates test out. I had been teaching for years and bridged into Power, and I messed up in my totally forgot short box series, and I was like, she was like, short box, and I was like, oh, right, so I get test anxiety too. So, but at the same time, just showing that you're safe. Like, safe in your setup on the equipment is primary in this situation. And then your positioning in your body, just to know you're not like, it's fine if we do it once or twice in the learning curve of short spine, for example, and you're bending in your lumbar. But over time, we need to make sure you're not loading that every time, for example. So safety of equipment, primary, because this is essentially your foundation when you're on the reformer. This is the most supportive of all the equipment. So it has to be stable. So you need to make sure, I've seen this a lot, and we'll go through this, foot bars sort of being locked like that, and then they go to push, and it's like, oh, it wasn't actually locked in. So making sure you know your stuff there, and making sure that foundations has come back in your body after 12 weeks of working out. What you'll be tested on, I hate the word test, it should be like rite of passage. What do you call it?
Confirm.
We're affirming. It's very religious. Anti-heretic. Oh, confirm, yes, confirmation. And I changed it to affirm. We'll affirm your capacity.
Do you have a catechism for me?
I do, yes, we are. This is one of the rites. We are at we're in catechism, right, oh my gosh, flashbacks. Your affirmation review, whatever. The test out, it's just 2 syllables, it's just easy. Will be on the beginner intermediate. The advanced stuff, it would almost be like, Elaine, I want to practice this, will you just watch my form, make sure I'm okay? Okay, sweet, because there's a lot of crazy stuff. It is legs in the air, twisting with resistance. Stuff. So you just say, hey, Elaine, I'd also like to test out on these exercises, make sure I'm doing okay. All right, I trust you, you could be in the reformer on your own. But chances are at the end of this 12 weeks, the beginner intermediate will be very solid in your body, and those advanced will be like these fun, cherries on the tree that you go to pick once in a while with someone watching and spotting, So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll do it like over the Christmas holiday, whenever you want to do it, Okay, last thing to review before we get into the equipment. So the materials and the resources. I would like, my goal is to eventually bind everything that's behind here together, all your exercises. You're gonna see these exercises in a minute. I would like to have this in a bound, like reformer little notebook. The thing is, I'm not sure by the end, like which exercises we might teach one before the other, we might remove one. So every week, I'm editing, right. Every week I'll issue you new exercises. So if you all open that up in the left pocket, so right here, you're gonna have your full reformer list. So this is our goal, to learn all of these exercises by December, 16th or something, okay?
Some are highlighted white.
So those are like super advanced. So those are the ones that are gonna show up after Halloween, in a sense, or that first week of October. No, last week of October is when we start the next series. So, and then if you look in the front of your red pocket, and you can move the, so where it says weeks 1 and 2, these are the reform exercises I would like to get through this week and next week. And then behind are Elaine's. I can't draw stick feet, but everything else I've attempted to draw stick figures. And that will be your very loosey-goosey manual, just to refresh your memory. Now, I don't want you to think that's all you have, because my stick figures are ridiculous. And it's really tough to draw them in things that are like long, because it ends up just being a straight line.
No, I'm feeling pretty good about them so far.
Okay, good, I'm glad you.
They're making more sense to me than one would expect from a
Yes.
stick figure.
I love a good stick figure drawing. I think it gets the points, the angles, the basics.
Yoga by stick figures.
Yeah, it is fun. I've tried to figure out how to make a flip book GIF. I mean, I'm old school. If I,
Sorry, the high school's calling me. I was meant to get
oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah. I hope everything okay. But that's essentially this week and next week's exercises that we're going to go through, okay? And I mean, maybe we get through them all this week, then we'll add more. But I'm giving us 2 weeks for those. After that, every week you'll get a new sheet with like 5 or 6 exercises, and then those printed exercises. So by the end of the 12 weeks, we'll have all these exercises, we'll bind it together, and you've got a reformer notebook. The other thing is, you can make notes on those so that, make notes now, change them around, and then.
And each week is a color.
Every 2 weeks, actually, but yes, like you could do like 1 and 2, just because it's 12 weeks.
Cool.
I know. I saw these folders, I was like, this is awesome.
And they make me happy.
I know.
Colors.
I started watching Parks and Rec again, and I realized like Leslie Knope is my like spirit animal. So good.
Do you have, can you tell me the dates? Do you know the dates? I mean, I can look at my calendar, but do you have the dates of the 2-week sessions, 6-week sessions?
It's the same exact as the studios. So whatever this one's ends October 19th is a Saturday. We have a week off, and then it starts again. Off the top of my head, I actually don't know.
31st is a Thursday, so.
Oh yeah, 29th. 29th will be back.
28th and 29th.
Oh, 31st is
A
that.
Thursday.
Thursday.
31st is a Thursday.
So 29th. Yeah, 29th is a Tuesday. It'll kick back off again. So you have these. Now what you have here, this is really quite a beautiful Bible. Power Pilates is just such a fascinating, gorgeous, wonderful job of learning how to teach this system that's very difficult. This is overwhelming, will most likely look overwhelming, but if you need a real body reference and you forget and I'm not here, you have this. This will always be up on the desk. This is the Power Pilates manual, it's comprehensive, and you have the reformer exercises. I will explain how to use this at some point, but basically Power Pilates has divided exercises into systems: beginner, intermediate, advanced. So you will find at the beginning, after all the teaching stuff, I said I was going to explain it later, but I'm just going to show you now. You'll find it's divided eventually. So this is beginner mat. All the beginner mat exercises. This is Melody's haiku poem about toe socks. I forgot I had that in there. Then you'll find reformer, all the beginner. And this will be loosely resemble our first exercises. But anyways, this is, just know this will always be here. We have DVDs over there. You want to pop one in, have a little movie time, watch some reformer exercises.
Is there an index in the back of that to start shapes, or do you just have to go through you look through the different sections?
You're looking for a reformer. Now what you'll find is like Pilates intermediate system. Most of the exercises in the power Pilates system are in the intermediate level. So you will have to start to get, if you are referencing this, it'll take a little getting used to. There's no index of exercises, but once you start to learn the system, you'll be like, this feels like a beginner exercise. Also, Elaine told me it's a beginner exercise, so it's probably gonna be beginner intermediate level. But yeah, so you have some legit references. You have us as teachers here. Can you show me again, short box, flat back? I have no idea what that is. You know, oh yeah, no problem. And it's just a matter of getting it in your body. Plus I'll be recording these things, so we'll have that reference as well.
How are you gonna post that? Will it be on Moments?
I'll put it on YouTube. So
on YouTube, and then we'll just know where that
I'll send you links each week. Like my goal after, I did it with the teacher training, like after we're done, I upload it to YouTube, I send you the link, and then it's on there.
create a playlist.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put a playlist in it.
Subscribe to the channel or save the channel
Yeah, if you should.
on your
Yep.
computer or your phone.
But I'll make it just, it'll be a playlist. It'll be like fall reformer semester 2024, and we'll just add to that playlist. Yep. You know, this kind of stuff you can fast forward. But I'm recording the whole thing just so I can pull tidbits. Oh, that was quite cool what someone said there. I'm realizing the mic, I forget this every time, the mic will not pick up on you guys, so I have to remember to repeat any legit questions. So especially when we're training, like I'll have to, if you remember, any of you remember, just be like, Elaine, repeat the question in the microphone.
I just noticed you're wearing the mic.
Yeah. It's a good setup. I know. Okay, cumulative list. So you saw the full list. That list at the beginning of your notebook is the full-fledged reformer. So this one right here. That list is your full-fledged deal. YouTube uploads, weekly, every week we'll be adding, and eventually you'll have that full list covered. Okay, pull out the footwork series workout sheet. I just want to show this to you. This is the only one that doesn't have pictures. I couldn't do stick toes. This is not happening. But, so these sheets were created a couple of years ago when we attempted to do like a community-based teacher training. So what you have here is a very similar format to how Power Pilates taught. I did 2 certifications, and Power Pilates really nailed how to teach the method. Not necessarily the most aware of people's needs sometimes, but definitely the system of teaching, very effective. And they broke things up, each exercise up into setup and action. The cues and what to look for on the second half of that sheet, I almost want you to like not draw a line through it, but between it, because the cues and what to look for, we're not concerned with that right now. That's actually more of a teacher's perspective. I like it being on there for you. I was gonna take it off, and then I was like, I kinda like it being on there for you, because you might be like, oh right, Elaine always says that, whatever. You know, Aleshka's pull in your abs, whatever it is, whatever those cues are. There's a million cues I could have put there, but these are the basic ones. And then we left the what to look for open as a teacher-ended thing, like as a teacher, what are you looking for? So I left that there because you might, in working together, be like, oh, I saw that on Jen, I saw her shoulder hike up, I need to remember, you know, whatever. So I left it as is, but in this, we're gonna be concerned with the top 2. Setup and action, setup and action. I'm gonna do my best not to cue too much right away. At the same time, I want you to be safe, so I'll probably, but the reason I'm doing this partly too for my growth as a teacher is like, I want to teach advanced level work, and it is a different skill set as a teacher. So I will be cueing you to keep you safe, and then I want you really just to be feeling a lot of this. So you don't hear my voice the whole time. I want you to hear my voice when you're on your own and you're like, what would Elaine say? Oh yeah, my answer. Okay, so every sheet is set up like that. That's the format of the sheet. And again, let me just pull up a reformer exercise here. You will see some similarities here. Again, as a student, this might be overwhelming, all this stuff, but essentially they have, set up action. They did things like variations would be if you had a student that was more advanced and they needed a change, a modification would bring it back. So like a variation would be like, oh, this person's doing great, let's add a magic circle. This person really can't stay in their core, let's bring it back and have them bend their knees. So a modification would bring it back. A variation would step it up in a sense. But you'll see the setup and action in every one of these in case you want a little deeper. wisdom. But again, I would always resource your simple stick figures first. I think it'll get the point across, and you can come here if needed. Sweet. Do you have any questions about any of the things? That's coming next. Is that the equipment sheet? Yeah. That's coming next. And then again, last but not least, sort of about our group here. You three take turns. You can work with each other. If you want your own manual, I feel like you're getting one in a couple weeks from Power Pilates, so this might be overwhelming and confusing. But if you want one, I can make your own. But otherwise, you guys can share during the whole time. I've just put everything in there for you. Okay, I think that's it. The last thing we're gonna